Hey guys, I'm Jared, and today we're talking about what's new in board gaming as of October 7th, 2022. I'll be covering the latest news, announcements, most played games, hot new Kickstarters and crowdfunded games, and more related to board gaming for the past 2 weeks. At the end, I'll also be sharing what's going on behind the scenes with my YouTube channel, Meeple Mentor. So stick around, we've got a lot to cover. Leave me a like and comment on what kinds of updates that you want to hear more about. To make sure you don't miss my news updates, new video tutorials, and our podcast episodes, be sure to subscribe on YouTube and your preferred streaming platform. Starting off with the crowdfunding, Tainted Grail Kings of Ruin is a new standalone adventure by creators of the original Tainted Grail. This mythology-based survival horror game mixes exploration, narrative, and RPG. It's for 1 to 4 players ages 14 and up and is funding on GameFound until October 18th. Also on GameFound, a mighty artifact is hidden in a forgotten temple. Will you be able to find it by overcoming the pitfalls and monsters that guard it? Temple of Horrors is an innovative dungeon crawler that mixes Euro and American game elements and includes 100+ adventures. It is a game for 1 to 4 players and lasts about 90 minutes. You can back it until October 14th. Heart of Ice is a solo adventure game in which you're an explorer searching for a mysterious artifact in a dangerous post-apocalyptic winter world. In 23rd century Gaia, the AI system who controls the weather satellites brings the eternal winter to the Earth. Only you can change the fate or the future of humanity. The end of the story depends entirely on your choices. This TTRPG is a solo experience for ages 12 and up. You can back it on GameFound until October 26th. Beer Garden 2nd Edition is a light tile-laying game where players compete to create the most beautiful beer gardens before Oktoberfest. It's for 1 to 5 players and plays for 25 minutes. You can back it on GameFound until November 1st. Finally on GameFound, in honor of his child's birth, David Turksey has created 7 new promos for some of his games. They include Tekenu, Tawantinsuyu, Imperium, Perseverance, Voidfall, Vengeance, Roll and Fight, and Venice. You can celebrate with him and back this until October 31st. Moving on to Kickstarter, Black Dragon's Guild is a language-independent Eurogame set in a fantasy world where you will try to become the new guild master. Draw adventurer cards in a draft system, place your action tokens, and complete the quest of the season. This game is for 2 to 5 players ages 12 and up and plays for 45 minutes. It's funding until October 25th. For a poetic meditation on life and a solo play experience to ease and calm the weary mind, Kickstarter has you covered with Float Downstream. Until October 18th, you can fund this simple card game. Lay out cards that create a path and move your token along the multiple currents. Build the countryside in the 3rd game in the Sprawlopolis line. Naturopolis is a solo and cooperative countryside building game. Unlike Sprawlopolis, Naturopolis is more about building countrysides with only 18 cards and a varying scoring system. It comes with 3 free expansions, supports up to 4 players, and is on Kickstarter until October 8th. In the game Leaf, players embody the spirit of the wind and guide leaves to the forest floor to prepare the woods for winter. Play leaf cards to place leaf tiles on the table. Each leaf lends something to the health of the forest, and whoever lends the most health wins. For 2 to 4 players ages 10 and up and plays in 30 to 45 minutes. You can back it on Kickstarter until October 21st. Rhone Invasion is on Kickstarter. It's a cooperative, solo, and competitive deck building and dice crafting game where you can manipulate the dice before they manipulate you. Improve your combat skills by adding new units or sneaky attacks to your deck, and modify your dice during the game to improve your chance of generating more resources. This game supports 1 to 2 players and is expandable to 3 to 4. It's ages 14 and up and plays for 45 to 95 minutes. You can back it until October 27th. Also on Kickstarter is Matches. Matches is a trick-taking card game with a unique spin on scoring and playing. The lead player plays a number card to start the blaze. Each player in turn order must play a card matching that number, which increases the blaze's heat and point value, or a set of cards that equal the value of the card. You can back it until October 25th. Hero Brawl is a wrestling card game where you compete for the Hero Brawl title belt while trying to knock out all the cards in your opponent's hands. It's for ages 8 and up. It supports 2 to 6 players and plays for 5 to 15 minutes. It's on Kickstarter until October 27th. Face your obsessions and phobias until only one survives in The Zone RPG. It's a surreal play-to-lose horror TTRPG for 1 to 6 players. This game comes with snap lights as it's meant to be played in the dark. It's for 1 to 6 players and has a playtime of 2 to 3 hours. You can back it on Kickstarter until November 1st. Form a band, tour the world, and top the charts in the card drafting game for 1 to 6 players, Draft and Write Records. It's on Kickstarter until October 18th. Draft and write your way to stardom by drafting one card from your hand and marking the matching section of their band sheet. All of this is in search of harmony for your band members. It's for ages 10 and up and plays in 30 minutes to an hour. Mr. Meeple is back on Kickstarter with legendary t-shirts, and Mrs. Meeple joins the team with her unique handmade jewelry. With several different prints and styles, be sure to check out the Kickstarter campaign. You have until October 27th. Turf War Trick or Treat is on Kickstarter with a 2nd edition base set. Build up to win the creepiest yard on the block in this pocket-sized tile placement and strategy card game. It's for 2 to 4 players. It supports ages 14 and up and plays in 30 minutes. You can back it until October 13th. Also on Kickstarter is Materia Prima, The Inquisition. The Inquisition expansion enlarges the Materia Prima universe to support up to 6 players, solo mode, and a cooperative campaign. Step into a cooperative campaign game with a unique mix of mechanisms about alchemy in a medieval fantasy world. It's for ages 14 and up and has a playtime of 90 minutes. Back it until October 18th. Terraforming Mars fans are in luck. A brand new, quick, and simple way to play the beloved engine building game has hit Kickstarter and is funding until October 13th. Terraforming Mars, the dice game. In this card-driven game, you use special dice to develop your corporations and terraform Mars into the new home for humanity. Mind Your Business is a tricky spatial puzzle game that encourages clever planning and pattern recognition, all while being sparkly. It's for 1 to 4 players, and the goal being to mine the most treasure in the mountain that you can. Alone or with an opponent, fill your cart as it travels down the mountain. It supports players ages 14 and up and has a playtime of 30 to 45 minutes. You can back it on Kickstarter until October 26th. A relaunch of Kingmaker is funding on Kickstarter until October 14th. The original was previously delayed as a mark of respect for the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. The game is based around event cards and moving noble pieces, fighting battles, and conducting sieges. Kingmaker 2 is also included, and a variant of the classic Kingmaker, adding another strategy for winning. It's for 1 to 6 players ages 12 and up, and provides 2 to 6 hours of play. Fast-paced and endlessly funny, Almost Words is a party game enjoyed by people of all ages, gamers and non-gamers alike. It's a lighthearted and witty game where spelling and grammar don't matter. The unique tiles are designed to be flipped and rotated into any letter or symbol you like. It has components that supports up to 8 players, and it's on Kickstarter until November 1st. Kitsunido is on Kickstarter. Find your kindred spirit lord and wield their power in this battle royale card game of strategy and deception. It's for 2 to 5 players of all ages and plays in 15 to 35 minutes. You can back it until November 10th. Next on Kickstarter is Cifra Code 81. Cifra is the ultimate 2-player pure abstract strategy game on the flexible tiles board. Playing pieces must move according to the board pattern. The genius of this design is that the board pattern changes at every match. The Cifra Code 81 board presents over a quadrillion board patterns. You can back it on Kickstarter until October 13th. Lunar Rush is a simultaneous play Euro-style board game for 1 to 4 players. It's a game that combines bidding, market economics, and tableau engine building into a refreshing new genre. You play as one of Earth's 4 major corporate conglomerates competing to mine the moon for the newly discovered wonder materials, Lunethist crystals, and lunarium ore. It supports players ages 10 and up and plays for 45 to 75 minutes. Back it on Kickstarter until October 20th. A new escape room in a box experience has hit Kickstarter. Circus of Modraic, immersive escape room game mixes puzzles, narrative, and technology to immerse you in a challenging experience. Inspired by Lovecraft and Cthulhu, Circus of Modraic supports 1 to 4 players ages 14 and up and plays in 4 hours. It's funding until November 9th. If you're looking for a game of strategic movement and dice-based combat, Dead Man's Curse is funding on Kickstarter until October 21st. It's a competitive 2 to 4 player free-for-all melee or a 2 versus 2 game. Players try to lead their unique faction to victory in this battlefield strategy game. Victory is reserved for those who have the greatest forces remaining in the end. It plays for 15 minutes per player. An extension of the RTS video game Rotten Reich has come to Kickstarter. In Rotten Reich, the board game, lead your country to complete dominance through force or diplomatic tricks. It's for 2 to 6 players and plays for 1 to 4 hours. It's funding until October 28th. Build creatures, roll dice, and battle your friends in the funny and awesome card game Dragons vs. Unicorns. Build legendary creatures from the cards, creating the ultimate army using hilariously designed characters, then roll the dice to find out who becomes victorious in battles. It's for 2 to 4 players of all ages and funding on Kickstarter until October 27th. Another relaunch comes to us from Kickstarter. In Bonnie and Clyde Love and Death, play as the famous desperado duo in their last run. The relaunch comes with rules rewrite and wanted system added, along with some rebalancing and depth. It's on Kickstarter until October 23rd and is a solo game. Curses and Covens, Hide Your Witches is a card game about hiding and hunting witches in friendly towns and causing chaos along the way. It's pocket-sized and suitable for ages 8 and up, supporting 4 to 6 players. It has a 15-minute playtime and funding until November 9th. Control an army of space shrimp called Okal to conquer and extract energy from planets in Okal Invasion. This is a roll, multiply, and write game. It's for 2 players ages 10 and up and has a playtime of 20 to 45 minutes. There's also a tournament mode, and it's available for funding on Kickstarter until October 25th. Rise and Fall is a game involving strategic units positioning, territory control, and opportunity seizing. It's an immersive and engaging game, easy to understand yet hard to master, involving no luck or randomness. The creation of the board is a real preamble to each game, featuring a whole different world to explore each time. It's for 2 to 4 players and can play up to 8, with a 20-minute playtime per player. Back it on Kickstarter until October 13th. Lace up your hiking boots and prepare for a run, and outrun the bear. As long as you're the fastest, you won't become a tasty snack for the bear. The game employs the approachable mechanisms of hand management, cards as actions, and take that. It's for ages 8 and up, 2 to 6 players, and has a playtime of 20 to 45 minutes. Back it on Kickstarter until November 3rd. Harrow County, the game of Gothic conflict, is a 1 versus 1 asymmetric game where players try to rescue, destroy, rule, or infect Harrow County. Players control one of 3 factions: Protectors, the Family, and Kami, with each one having their own playstyle and objectives. The game includes a 3rd player, the Dead Witch, Hester Beck, who's buried under the tree. You can even play up to 4 players with the Fair Folk expansion. It's for ages 14 and up and provides a playtime of 45 to 90 minutes. You can back it on Kickstarter until October 27th. A new tile-laying strategy game is on Kickstarter for backing until November 3rd. Snakes of Wrath sees 2 players battle for dominance in a tangled tabletop Ouroboros. Build, heal, stab, and steal the largest army of snakes. It provides a 15 to 20 minute playtime to play with a friend and make an enemy. Self-Careless is a cozy card game of life balance. Organize your day by arranging care and chore cards. Drinking fancy coffees gives you powers. Self-Careless plays as a 12-turn solo game where players are trying to organize their day between chores and self-care. You can back it on Kickstarter until November 3rd. Next, in Familiar and Foes, play as one of 5 spell-slinging elemental familiars fighting cooperatively to rescue their witches and wizards. Each character has unique spells and abilities, and the game is played by playing spell cards in hopes of beating foes. The game has a solo mode and supports up to 5 players, ages 10 and up, and provides a playtime of 20 to 90 minutes. You can back it on Kickstarter until November 3rd. Lock 'em Up is a bipartisan game of dirty tricks where you put politicians in jail. You get 5 action cards to burn everyone else and cover yourself. Be the last one standing to win this card game. It's for ages 8 and up and supports 2 to 6 players, providing a playtime of 30 to 45 minutes. Back it on Kickstarter until November 3rd. Also funding on Kickstarter is Bad Baby Lich Lords, a fast-paced, competitive card game. Bad Baby necromancers raise an army of skeletons to wake the sleeping Lich King, utilize tactical combo play and set collection to score realms and wake the Lich King. 1 to 4 players can choose from 4 different factions and invoke dark powers and wrangle minions. You can back it until October 31st. In We're Sinking, the ship is sinking and your fellow pirate crew has the option to fill their pockets with loot or stay light and flee to the last lifeboat. If the ship sinks, the player with the fewest cards in their hand is light enough to jump on the lifeboat. Work together or betray each other and use your collected treasure to influence gameplay. It's for ages 10 and up, supports 3 to 6 players, and plays for 45 to 90 minutes. Back it on Kickstarter until October 30th. Flick or Treat is an award-winning micro-dexterity game that will get you in the Halloween spirit. Featuring custom 3D printed pieces, a fun flick and roll mechanic, and a way to play using actual pieces of candy, this game just might become one of your new Halloween traditions. It's for 2 to 5 players ages 5 and up, and plays in 15 minutes. You can back it on Kickstarter until October 7th. Locate incidents, dispatch your units effectively, and save your city in a semi-co-op board game from the creators of 911 and 112 Operator. 911 Operator, the board game, is on Kickstarter until November 4th. It's co-op and time-sensitive and employs tactical management. It's for 1 to 4 players ages 13 and up and plays in 45 to 90 minutes. Redwood is a great game for wildlife lovers and photographers. It's on Kickstarter till October 26th. Estimate the distances, choose the right objective, photograph animals to compose your panorama. This game supports 1 to 4 players ages 10 and up and plays for 45 minutes. Last but certainly not least, Patriot, an immersive 1 to 6 player social deduction board game, is on Kickstarter. Save or assassinate the president of Carmonia. Deeply thematic with over 300 cards, 36 minis, and engaging stories, Patriot is a social deduction board game with elements of deck building, combat, and engine building. It supports players ages 14 and up and plays in 30 minutes per player. You can back it until November 2nd. Moving over to industry news, Moose Games announced that they have entered into a multi-year international licensing deal to distribute Hunt a Killer's mystery games. This deal goes into effect immediately for distribution in the UK and Australia, but excludes distribution in the US and Canada. The Toy Foundation's Toy of the Year Awards announced that Pokemon TCG Pokemon Go Elite Trainer Box by the Pokemon Company International is their 2022 Game of the Year. Hatchet Board Games recently hired T. Cares to their staff as their new US sales manager. At Hatchet, T will be responsible for making retailer resources, communication, managing retailer and distributor sales, and organizing Hatchet's presence at US conventions and trade shows. Stonemaier Games announced that Wingspan and other games they produce now feature more eco-friendly packaging. They also revealed Between Two Cities Essential Edition and Smitten for pre-order, which are their 2 most environmentally sustainable games they've produced to date. Crowdfunding giant Kickstarter has hired Everett Taylor as its new CEO, replacing Aziz Hassan after the co-founder stepped down in March of this year. Tabletop game company Deepwater Games is spinning off from parent Ox-Eye Media, which also owns comic publisher SourcePoint Press, effective October 1st as Ox-Eye announces plans to launch a new games division. Lucky Duck Games products will be exclusively distributed in Asia by Kaman Asia, the company's just announced. The deal, which has already begun, includes the countries of China, Japan, Korea, Thailand, Vietnam, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, India, Burma, Laos, and Cambodia. SourcePoint Press will launch Mysterium, the Spectral Servant, a 3-issue miniseries set in the world of the best-selling Mysterium board game, on November 23rd. Lastly, in industry news, Wizards of the Coast announced their new licensing partnerships for Magic the Gathering Universes Beyond, which includes Final Fantasy and Assassin's Creed. Kicking off our game announcements, a preview of Marvel Age of Heroes has been released. Marvel Age of Heroes is an epic strategy game in which each player commands a duo of X-Men who are dispatched to defeat villains and complete objectives. It's for 2 to 5 players ages 14 and up and plays for 60 to 90 minutes. Pegasus Spiel revealed Micro Macro Crime City 3 All In, the third installment in the Spiel des Jahres winning series of games for release into retail in October. This game is for 1 to 4 players ages 12 and up and plays in 15 to 45 minutes. In other Pegasus Spiel news, they will release Monster Inn, a new card game, into retail in Q4. In this new card game by Roman Pelik, players are looking to recruit monsters to staff their dungeon from a local inn where they all hang out. This game is for 3 to 5 players ages 8 and up and plays in 20 to 30 minutes. Swiss tabletop publisher Treacer recently announced that it had secured the rights to adapt the long-running Zoo Tycoon PC series into a weighty board game courtesy of Microsoft. The project has reportedly been in the works for 3 years and will launch a crowdfunding campaign on Kickstarter starting October 25th. Designer Romain Katergian and publisher BG Nations have announced 12 Rivers, a game about collecting riches as they flow from the gods down the life-giving rivers. Players take on the role of one of 4 competing tribes, sending warriors up the mountain to camp by the river. Wonderful World Board Games and designer Romain Katergian have announced Touch It, a gateway party game that challenges your sense of touch. In Touch It, cards have 4 possible images printed on the front, and on the back, one of those pictures is blown up and 3D embossed. Without looking, feel the back side of the card and determine which of the 4 pictures is there. 3 versions will be available: Japanese culture, traditional festival, and cute animals. Touch It will be available for purchase at Essen Spiel in October. Dwarf Romantic is an immensely popular and addictive tile-laying video game released back in March of 2021 by Tucana Interactive. In Dwarf Romantic, players place hexagonal terrain tiles from a limited stack, slowly growing a quaint village landscape. Tiles can have houses, farms, trees, rivers, trains, and more. Points and more tiles are awarded for fulfilling conditions on the tiles and for creating perfectly pretty regions. Letterman Games is releasing an updated version of the dungeon crawler Adventure Tactics Domains Tower next month. Adventure Tactics Domains Tower is a cooperative encounter-based game in which players take on the role of fantasy characters and fight their way through a campaign of adventures. It's intended for 1 to 5 players ages 13 and up. Scenarios take a little under an hour to play. Betsier Games unveiled Castles of Mad King Ludwig Renovations, a new expansion which will be up on Kickstarter November 1st. This new expansion to Castles of Mad King Ludwig allows players to enhance existing rooms with dual room-type renovations. Hasbro has announced that Cluedo will be completely relaunched and expanded in 2023. Hasbro leaders also mentioned that the Cluedo movie is still happening, but did not offer any more information. Ravensburger is publishing the Disney Space Mountain game All Systems Go, where players are flying spaceships as they try to visit 5-star forts and complete their missions, with the winner being the first to do so. This fast-flying board game adventure is for 2 to 4 players ages 8 and up and plays in 20 to 40 minutes. Prolific game designer Reiner Knizia constantly has his games rethemed as they're reintroduced to a newer audience. Samurai the card game is the latest of his games to be rethemed, this time as Pollen. In Pollen, 2 to 4 players try to create a lush garden of blooms to attract pollinators to their flowers in an abstract tile-laying game. This incarnation is published by BoardGameTables.com and suited for players ages 11 and up. It plays in about 45 minutes. Pandasaurus Games has partnered with Atlas to publish Persona 5 Royal, a new card game designed by Emerson Matsuchi. This new card game comes from the designer of Century Eastern Wonders and Foundations of Rome. It's based on the Persona 5 Royal video game by Atlas. In this cooperative game, players take on the roles of various phantom thieves to fight for world change. Super popular board game Wingspan will be getting a 3rd expansion that introduces avian species from the Asian supercontinent, along with new game modes and support for both solo and duet playstyles. The publisher states that it will donate $1 for every person who signs up for pre-order notifications to several planned charitable organizations in Asia, including BirdLife International, Animals Asia, Flight, and the International Crane Foundation. Lucky Duck Games is releasing a new card engine building game by Paper Fort Games called Cosmoctopus. It will get a Kickstarter this month before going to retail. Players are devotees to the Great Inky One, a mysterious celestial being, and must help guide it through the Inky realm. Assemble a configuration of tiles and gather cards and resources to be the first to gather 8 tentacles. Finally, Arcane Wonders has announced the next game in the Dice Tower Essentials line, Dice Manor. It is designed by Garrett Herter with art from Damien Mamoliti. In Dice Manor, players are developers designing lavish dream homes with plenty of huge rooms and meandering hallways. Players will roll their dice, then use these dice to bid on rooms to add to their house and to take other actions. Dice Manor plays 1 to 4 players in 30 to 45 minutes, ages 14 and up. Now let's talk some about the Meeple Mentor Channel and what's going on there. Did you know you can visit the official website at www.meeplementor.com? There you can find much more content, a bio, merch, and even ways to support the channel. I've been pretty productive this past week or two, writing several new tutorial scripts, doing a bunch of filming and editing of upcoming tutorials, including Clank, Coffee Roaster, Spectre, Tekenu, and more. I'm still looking for a new professional job as I'm out of work right now. If you happen to know of any great opportunities, send me a message. I'm interviewing primarily for any tabletop game industry job that I can find. On the channel, I posted about 6 review videos with Holly and I sharing our thoughts on various newer board games. I think I may start making the reviews a semi-regular thing. We did reviews for Flamecraft, Towering Perfection, Spectre, Wormholes, Sunset Overwater, and Vin. You can check those out in the reviews playlist I created, or find them on the video list of the channel. The tutorial this past week was for Flamecraft, as I know everyone's receiving their Kickstarter and looking to play it. It's a detailed video, like usual, and includes the solo mode. I put out unboxing videos for Towering Perfection, an upcoming new tile-laying game, and for Dolce, an engine-building kind of game about making confections. My off-the-shelf recommendation video was on Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. There's lots more to come, so stick around on the channel, subscribe, and let me know what you're most excited about. Thanks for tuning in to today's news update. I appreciate your support, and remember, teach when you can, but always be learning. See you next time.